Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is ARIF IMRAN bin KAMARULZAMAN. My meeting number is 1201530. Okay, let's look at the introduction. To ensure that Islamic financial transactions are conducted in accordance with Sharia, an Islamic financial institution must build a good operational framework and infrastructure. And also, the Sharia contract-based regulatory policy aims to ensure that Sharia contract application is consistent across all Islamic financial goods and services. For the legal provision for Sharia requirements, there are two provisions, which are Section 29 Clause 1 of the Islamic Financial Services Act 2013 and Section 33E Clause 1 of the Development Financial Institution Act 2002, and also 8 provision for operational requirements, which are Section 29 Clause 2, 57, 135 Clause 1 and 155 of IFSA, and Section 33 E Clause 2, 41, Section 42C Clause 1 and 116 of the DFIA. Next, contractual benefit to the lender in a Qard contract, which are two following rules. Firstly, contractual profit based on the Qard contract or generated from the Qard sum is prohibited because it will result in riba. Secondly, the contractual benefit which is given on general terms and not exclusive to the lender is permissible because it is given to all eligible customers and IFIS and is not due to the Qard contract. Next, history of Qard in Malaysia. In the 167 meeting of Sharia Advisory Council of Bank Negara, Malaysia discussed the Sharia issues concerning permissibility of incorporating contractual benefit to the lender in a Qard contract, and decided any contractual benefit to the lender which is dependent on the Qard contract or derived based on the Qard amount is not allowed but permissible if the benefit is given on general terms and not exclusive to the lender. Lastly, why Qard is not popular? Because inability to shout and promote and attract customer, inability to structure with other contracts effectively, inability to highlight benefits of products to customer, and limited features and high potential of breaching Sharia rules.
Wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Syahid. So today I will talk about Sharia requirement in Qard contract. So first of all, we must know about components in Qard contract. The first is the contracting parties. Second, offer and acceptance, or we call it in Arabic ijab wa qabul. Third is money. This is the salient features of Qard contract. First of all, we must know that the Qard contract must not contain any contractual benefit to the lender, but there is still have a contractual benefit that is allowed. So, any broad upon settlement of the full selling or price of the sale contract that is independent from the Qard contract shall not be construed as a contractual benefit to the lender. Right. Next, also, if there is identified service, facilities, or privilege provided by the borrower, which are not exclusive to the lender, shall not be construed as a contractual benefit because that is permissible. Right. Next, we talk about the repayment of Qard, or how to repay the money that we borrow. So, the money borrowed under the Qard contract must be repaid according to the agreed term first. The second one is the money borrowed under this contract or Qard contract is to be repaid in different currency. The third one is if the borrower fails to repay the money, the borrower may be charged to late payment payment charge as determined by the relevant authorities.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is NAJIHAH binti NAZARUDDIN. My matric number is 1201544. For the operational requirements and international financial institution, first must observe specific requirements of government's arrangement as outlined in the policy document to address distinct risks associated with Qard. The second one is have sufficient understanding of its risk profile and ensure the availability of personnel with the appropriate knowledge and skill to offer Qard. Next, Board of Directors responsibilities. The first one, approve the business and risk strategies of NIFI. Second, approve and oversee the implementation of policies and procedures governing the application of Qard. The third one, implementing appropriate internal controls. And then ensuring sufficient resources are in place that the IFI has educated and qualified personnel with sufficient knowledge. And the last one, ensuring independent reviews and are conducted regularly to assess compliance with the policy documents. Next, for the Sharia Committee responsibilities, the first one, endorse the application of Sharia requirements. Second, review the terms and conditions stipulated in our documentations. The third one, endorse policies on fees and charge imposed on Qard transactions. D, endorse policies relating to acceptance of fund for deposit or other liabilities. Next, advise and provide clarification on relevant Sharia rulings, decision or policy document on Sharia matters issued by the bank. And the last one, assess the work carried out by Sharia review and Sharia audit, and endorse any rectification. Next, for the senior management, the first one, develop and implement internal control and risk management policies and procedures in line with the business and risk strategies approved by the boards. Second, establish policies, procedures, and processes with regard to proper management of the Qard. The third one, implement relevant internet systems and infrastructure and educate mechanisms. The last one, identify, assign, and train key personnel with the appropriate skills. Next, for the Sharia compliance and international financial institution, ensure that operations are in compliance with Sharia requirements. Second, product structure, legal documents, internal policies, and procedures are endorsed. Next, any issues pertaining to Sharia matters are discussed and deliberated by the Sharia Committee. And the last one, the opinion of the Sharia Advisory Council of the Bank (SAC) is sought if there are any unresolved Sharia issue.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti HIDAYAH binti ROSLI and my matric number is 1201539. Today, I will present about the legitimacy of Qard contract. We can see that the legitimacy of the Qard contract is derived from the Quran. Other than that, it also founded on the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad SAW. And lastly, the consensus of Muslim jurists, which is known as Ijma. Firstly, Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 245 implies the general permissibility of the Qard contract. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Man zallazi yuqridullaha qardan hasanan fayudha'ifahu lahu ad'afan katsirah. Wallahu yaqbidu wa yabsutu wa ilaihi turja'un. Sadaqallahul azim. This verse means who is that will grant Allah a goodly loan so that he will repay him many times over. And remember, it is Allah who decrease and increase sustenance, and to him you shall return. Secondly, the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad SAW. These hadiths imply the permissibility of Qard contract. Firstly, Ibn Mas'ud narrated that the Prophet of Muhammad said, every 2 loans extended by one Muslim to another count as one charitable payment. Next, Abu Hurairah narrated that the Prophet SAW said, whoever takes people wealth with the intention of repaying it, Allah will repay it on his behalf, and whoever takes it in order to use it up, Allah will destroy him. Lastly, the legitimacy of Qard contract based on the consensus of Muslim jurists. Muslim jurists have reached ijma on the permissibility of the court contract. To sum up, court, which is borrowing, is permissible and it also allowed in contract according to the Sharia. That's all from me. Thank you.
My name is NURFATIN SYAFIQAH binti AMRAN. My matrix number 1201554. Next is product that use card contract. Bank Islam use card current account I and card saving account I. Next is card current account I. It can enable you to wisely plan your monthly expenditure and allows you to manage your financial needs without involving cash. The benefits such as free saving passbook, bank card facilities, salary crediting and sweeping facilities, standing instruction facilities, and hibah may be given on a monthly basis. Next is contract in card current account I. Any profit generated by the bank should belong to the bank, and the bank may give rewards such as hibah to the customer. The bank also guaranteed payment of the credit of the customer account. Eligibility: all Malaysian citizens and permanent residents can join it. RM500 for individual account for minimal initial deposit and RM1,000 for non-individual account. No minimum balance in account. 18 years old and above can join, and type of account such as individual account, joint account, and company account. Next is card saving account I. It offers card saving account I facility for you to save your money. The benefits such as free saving passbook, bank card facilities, and salary crediting and sweeping facilities. The contract in card saving account I. The profit generated by the bank shall belong to the bank. The bank give reward hibah to the customer, and the eligibility is minimum opening for RM100 and minimum balance in account is RM10. Open to all in age requirement and types of account such as joint account and individual account.
Next, I will present to all of you about what is effect of applying court contract. Firstly, the effect is financial transaction. It needs to have a material finality, that is, it should be directly or indirectly linked to a real, tangible economic activity as opposed to financial speculation. Next, product or service that was bought or sold to them must be clear to both parties. Thirdly, no funding or haram or sinful activities. The production of alcoholic beverage or gambling and funds should preferably finance a socially productive activity. In broad terms, Islam forbids all forms of economic activity which are morally or socially harmful. Besides financial risk, it must lie solely with the lenders of the capital and not with the manager or agent who work with the capital. Furthermore, a financial transaction should not lead to the exploitation of any parties in the transaction. Next, the effect that is related is interest. It forbidden in that it predetermined fixed sum owed to the lender irrespective of the outcome of the business venture in which the fund is used. And lastly, not permitted to sell what one does not own. Short selling, which is selling something that one does not own in the hope that it can be bought cheaper at a later date, is impermissible. In addition, I will explain the perspectiveness of court. First, carrying out the will of Allah so that Muslims can meet each other helping in goodness and piety. Second, strengthen the bonds of brotherhood between the Muslims.